for you today. I'm at my sewing table, so my setup is a little bit different, and this is definitely different than anything else that I have done for you. So hopefully things go well. Maybe give me a little bit of grace. So I'm going to try my best to explain some of the prep work that I did, and if you need more detail on that or you're not sure you understand, then maybe I can make a separate tutorial for some of those specifics. We'll just see how it goes. But if you're joining, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know, do you sew? You might have some tips for me. I'm very much a beginner sewer. I don't have a lot of experience sewing, so I don't always do things the right way. I just kind of wing it and do whatever works for me. So if that's you, then we're going to get along good. And if you have more experience sewing, then maybe you can give me some tips on how to do things better. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I have here today. This is an image that I printed from my computer. And I can't remember where I downloaded it from. It was a free printable though, and I will try to find that if I can and include that link on here. But it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still and know that I am God. It has that right, sorry. And and with a little floral arrangement. And I'm going to be making a patch to add to a tote bag today. If you've seen the ones that I've been sharing, this is kind of how I'm doing it. And I'm just starting to kind of perfect this and work on this. So it's in progress, but I'm going to show you so far how I'm doing it. So what I have this, I cut it in a 6x8 square. I printed it on muslin fabric. So it's that nice beige kind of speckled fabric, and it goes well with the canvas tote bag that I'm using. And then so I have a blank piece and a printed piece, and then I have a piece of just regular batting that I cut the same size, and I'm going to sandwich it together. But first I want to explain to you how I printed this. If you've never printed on fabric before, this is what I have found to be the easiest. So I have a piece of cardstock, and you can use a glue stick for some things, but I have been doing this method and I really prefer it. It is a quilt basting spray. You can get it at Walmart. It's temporary, so you can kind of reposition things, move things around. So I spray actually a good coverage on my piece of cardstock, because I have found through trial and error, if it's not secured down, it can move and shift in the printer. It can crumple, kind of like wrinkle up, and it will cause your ink rollers to smudge your design, or just distort your design, and then it doesn't turn out so pretty. Then you have to do it again. So I would suggest to get a really nice coating on there. I cut my muslin to the size of the paper, so 8.5 by 11, and glued it down with this basting spray. Okay. Then, depending on how your printer prints out, you put it in and it prints out right on top of the fabric. Then you can just pull the fabric off of this and you have a nice piece of printed fabric. And you'll have to play around with kind of your settings and stuff. To get this size for my bags, I print it as a 5x7, but it also just depends on your image, how it's laid out in the file, all that kind of stuff. So I would suggest, before you print on your material, print on a just regular piece of paper and put it on your item. Make sure you've got your sizing just right before you print on your fabric, and print in black and white. Save yourself some colored ink, because that stuff is expensive. It's all expensive, but those are just kind of some tips, some things that I've learned through trial and error to kind of watch out for. So I always print my design on a piece of paper if it's the first time that I'm doing something, and make sure that it's exactly how I want it before I print it on my fabric. Okay, so now that we have that done and talked about, and if you have any questions, please ask. If I can explain something better, I will. And if you need to see a video on something specific, I can make that for you too. So now that I've got my pieces cut, and I like to use one of these roller cutters and a big cutting mat, but if you don't have that, ruler and scissors, that's fine too. So the first thing I'm going to do is start sandwiching my material, and I'm just going to spray kind of onto this piece of cardstock so that I don't get too much sticky glue on my table. I have kind of like, what I do is I have the lid from like the top of a big box that I set out, and I just spray in that. That way it catches all that extra overspray, and I don't have to worry about getting sticky stuff on my floor or carpet or table or anything. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just gonna go ahead, and if you wanna just pin your stuff, you can do that. I feel like this holds it a little bit better, and I'm still, like I said, I'm new at this, and it's hard sometimes to keep my fabric from running away. So I'm gonna glue my fabric onto the front and back of this piece. And it is repositionable, so if you kind of get off a little bit, you can pull it up and move it over. So I'm just kind of making a sandwich here with my material and my batting. And I don't know that you necessarily need this backside, but I do like the thickness of it, and I like how it makes the edges look. My goal is kind of for like tattered edges. So I just like the thickness of it. So that's my backside, and then I'm gonna spray this side and put my front design on. And I just kind of fold it in half. That way I'm not fighting with the whole piece. Get that top part lined up. And then smooth it out. Okay, so now I have my little sandwich with my design on the front, a blank piece on the back, and then my batting in the middle. So now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and stitch this patch. Now, if you're really good at sewing, you could probably skip this step, just pin it on your bag and sew it all down. But I just kind of like to do it in steps. I feel like it's easier. Something else that I want to mention real quick, and I should have done this in the beginning maybe, but if you don't sew, this product here called Fabrifix, I was suggested this by the employee at Hobby Lobby, and that's where I bought it from. But if you don't sew, then you can use this permanent fabric adhesive. She said that it's not going to let go of anything, and it's washable. I haven't tested that out long term, so I don't know. But if you have some things that are hard to sew on, or you can't get it on your machine, or you just don't sew at all, you can probably fudge some of this with this Fabrifix. Okay, let me get my sewing machine over here. So all I'm gonna do here is just do a basic edging. Just a basic seam around the edge, just to sew all three pieces together and make it look, my idea or my vision is kind of to make it look like 3D off the bag. So any kind of thickness or texture I can create is what I'm going for. All right. So here I'm just giving it, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch inseam here. You can kind of play it by ear or do it however you like, but that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go around the, the whole square. And if you're a beginner sewer, this is super easy to do. This is one reason why I really love this project. I try my best to keep my lines straight. Sometimes they might get a little wavy, but I really feel like these kind of projects are kind of forgiving. So I don't know. It's a pretty straight line. I think I'm getting better, maybe. Practice, right? Okay. So then I've got to the end. I'm just going to spin it around, and I'm just going to work my way around the whole rectangle. And I'm just stopping kind of right before that edge and spinning it around. That way I only have one start and one stop. And this glue holds it down pretty good. You really don't get a lot of running where like you get to the end and everything's all out of whack. It's not too bad with that, with the basting spray. last one. Go across the top here. Sometimes you'll get a slight wrinkle at the end here. I've got to get better at not having that, but we're going to back stitch and finish it off. Okay, so now we have the first part done. Move that to the side. So we just have our patch here. You can see it has a nice seam edge just right around. And what I will do later is I'll just go back and kind of pull strings across these edges and kind of rough them up because I want them to be tattered and kind of ragged. But I can do that in just a little bit. Cut off some of these extra strings here. If you don't want it to be that way, then you can just use maybe some pinking shears, or you could even do like a turn under seam if you wanted it to be more neat. But I want it to just look kind of ragged and rustic, and to me that is just like forgiving of any mistakes. Another thing that I like about this project and this idea is that you really can get away with not having your edges lined up perfectly, because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go, forgot one thing. Got my straight edge here. It's hard to get in and out of this table. Ah. Okay, forgot my straight edge, but I'm gonna go through, and anywhere that I have where it's showing the batting or it's not lined up just like I like it, I'm just gonna cut that part off. Easy, easy fix. So we're gonna line that up. And I'm just working with my little square here so that I can show you really quick on camera. It's a little bit off. So I'm just gonna cut off that extra, and then I'm gonna have a really nice, perfectly straight edge. Almost like I sewed it perfectly. Okay. So that's really the only one. I think the rest of them look good. So we're gonna leave it at that. And I don't really worry if, like, sometimes it doesn't turn out perfect and the edges don't turn out perfect, but that's why I like kind of the rustic look of it. All right, so here's the next step. This step is a little bit trickier. I have my bag here. This is just a really heavy woven canvas tote from Hobby Lobby. It's the heavier one. They do have thinner ones, and you can use those if you want. I like these good, sturdy, heavy ones so they can really, I just like the thickness of it. So I'm going to kind of center my patch up on here. Get it kind of where I like it. I'm just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to use my basting spray to hold it down in place. And I'm just kind of spraying a little bit there. It's going to hold it pretty good. So this up. And then if you want, you can even attach a couple of pins. I think I'm not today because I did the other day, but I don't really think it's necessary. So now also at this point, if you are using this fabric glue, then all you have to do is go around the edges, you know, put some glue on there, smear it down. It says that it's washable after 24 hours. So if you do that, then you're done. Even if you just want to have the stitching on the patch, which is the easy part, and then glue it onto your bag, because this part is a little bit harder on the machine, a little trickier. But since I do sell these in my Etsy shop, if I can sew them down, I want to try to sew them down so that I just know that they're good and secure. But if you're doing just one for you or like a gift or something, then maybe take it the easy way and do the glue, unless you just like to sew. Okay, so I've been doing this just open, but I think this time I want to try something different. I hope this doesn't come off. I'm going to turn it inside out. So I'm going to I'm gonna grab my patch so it doesn't move. Hopefully it doesn't come unglued. I might regret not pinning it. But I'm just turning it inside out here, straightening it up on the bottom, getting my bottom pulled out. And I think this is going to be a much easier way to sew it. So now I'm going to put it on here, and I can just kind of follow it down. I am going to just try my best to go along that same stitching seam that I made before. So here we go. This part is a little more challenging. Always do your back stitch, and then you can just start moving down your bag as you sew it on. And even through all of that, I feel like all of that maneuvering, I think the basting spray held it pretty well, and I didn't have to worry about getting poked by all those pins and taking them out along the way and all that stuff. So for me, I just feel like that's the easiest way. I'm trying to get my corners lined up right. They may not be exact, but it's okay. You really can't tell that much on the finished design. You do want to make sure that you keep all your straps pulled out and anything that can get underneath there. I've made that mistake before too. You definitely don't want to sew anything together that's not supposed to be sewn and mess up your bag. You just kind of got to keep this pulled away. Kind of have to fight with it a little bit, but it's doable. All right. Send it to the next side. That it just stays flat. Keep pushing it out. Kind of have to go slow on this part. Okay, and then I just have to go across the top seam and I'll be done. Once I get to the end where I'm meeting up, I'm going to do a quick back stitch and then pull it off my machine. Snip those ends, and I'm done with that part. So let's see if I ended up with it straight. It's a little nerve-wracking to do this live, guys, because I'm still so new at doing this. But I think it turned out right. Snip my extra thread here, and I love it. I just think this is such a neat way to personalize your tote. You can literally print off any printable, any image that you want, make you a patch, and put it on your tote. You can layer multiple patches. I don't know if you saw the lemon one that I posted this morning, but I put like a little extra patch down here. You can just kind of make make it creative and design it however you want. The sky's the limit with this stuff. And you can put it on anything. You can make pillowcases. I bought a sweatshirt. I got a really cute frog and toad design. My daughter loves the frog and toad series. She's 22, but she loves the frog and toad characters. And so I'm going to be working on a patch to put on a sweatshirt. I thought that would be really cute. So stay tuned if you want to see that. And I hope you like this and you will maybe feel confident to give it a try for yourself. If you do, I would love to see it. And also, if you have any more questions or need me to explain something more, I would be happy to do that. So just comment below. But thanks for spending time with me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.